Hi, welcome to Basement PC. This is our Hardware for the Masses series where we talk about normal hardware, not the highest end, not the junk stuff, the stuff that normal people can buy and use. This is a Mac Pro 5.1. It's from 2010. They're fairly common. They're around. This is a 30-inch cinema display. They made these all the way starting back in like 2004. You can find them. It's a 1440p monitor. Really high-end, good-looking panel for the time. But I'm just going to go through how to build a Mac 5.1 in 2024. Is it a viable option? Yes, it is. You can pick them up cheap. You can pick these guys up for under $200. You can probably find the monitor for about $100. A system like this will probably run you about $300. Why would I build something from 2010? Well, this is why. It's 6 cores, 12 threads. It has 48 gigs of RAM, which is max. The dual CPU models will take even more than that. DDR3 server RAM is really cheap. This is a really cheap Mac option. And you can customize it a lot. So this is the part that I'm gonna show you guys. So you can put a lot of drives and a lot of storage in this guy. These drive bays take just standard hard drives. You buy an NVMe card. You put an NVMe drive in it, it'll boot from it. That's a USB 3 card. If you can find a GTX 680, this one's an EVGA. You can flash the BIOS and have a boot screen. They take standard DDR3 or DDR3 server RAM. DDR3 server RAM, ECC RAM is really cheap and easy to find. I think you can get 48 gigs for about 25 bucks. So yeah, easy to equip the storage. I don't know how well you can see that, but and these work with a lot of other video cards, but I would suggest that you have a native Mac video card to boot it. If you don't, like 580s work really well in these. The performance is really good, and you can do a lot with them with a 580. But I would recommend you have one of the factory video cards to boot it up with, so you have a boot screen. But the 680, the GTX 680, is a really good option because you can flash the BIOS of the card really easily to make it bootable. Now, when you buy an NVMe drive and an NVMe card, keep this in mind. Crucial drives and Samsung drives do not work. Or Crucial drives and Hynix drives, I'm sorry. Crucial and Hynix, do not buy Crucial or Hynix. They will not show up. This one is Silicon Power. They're really cheap. They work well. You can buy a 512 for like $30, something like that. USB 3 hub, because obviously the card back here, you don't really have the ports to, but pretty simple. If you want to install the latest Mac OS, which is Sonoma, like you can see we're running Sonoma, you need this right here, OpenCore Legacy Patcher. You can pick it up on GitHub. It's pretty simple. When you have updates, it'll just prompt you to reinstall OpenCore and root patch. OpenCore is the bootloader that lets you boot non-standard versions. You can also use a 4.1 and do all this, and it'll work just fine. The 4.1 and the 5.1 Mac Pros are pretty commonplace nowadays. They're probably going to drop support for Intel Macs pretty soon. I wouldn't rely on running this thing forever, but if you ever want to do a Mac on the cheap, like say for audio production or some kind of artwork, photo editing type stuff, things like that, this is a great cheap option for that. You can probably build something like this for about $350, and you don't have to use this particular display, but something I happen to have, and they look good. But I mean, a modern 1440p monitor would do you just fine. But yeah, there's a crash course in the Mac Pro 5.1. They're still a viable option. You can do a lot of upgrades with them. There's websites that go into a lot of detail about the things you can do with them. There's a mod called the Pixelus mod where you can put bigger video cards. I mean, like 6700 XTs and things like that in there. I'd be careful with that though, because with the 6-core Xeons, socket 1366, so basically like on an X58 platform, it's probably an X58 chipset. They have 3 memory channels. Try to put at least 3 sticks of memory. Try to put 3 sticks of memory in them when you can, because then you'll have all 3 channels. You'll have the best performance. Yeah, that's about it. Feel free to questions, comments. I'll try my best I can to answer your questions. I'll have some more, Mac Pro content on here eventually. I'm not really a Mac channel, but this kind of stuff is it's pretty easy to do. You can pick these things up pretty easily. So if you want a Mac to have fun with, get a 4.1 or a 5.1 and a cheap NVMe drive. Like I said, I'd recommend the Silicon Power because I know they work. They usually boot up fine. It's only PCI Express 2.0. So you don't really have to worry about getting a really fast NVMe because you're not going to get full speed out of it. I'll demonstrate that real quick here. Yeah, okay. As you can see, that's what I'm getting. It's only PCI Express 2, so that's about all you're going to get out of it. About 1500. So you don't have to have the most expensive NVMe drive out there. But they, pretty good performing machine for the most part. The 6-core Xeon, this has a W68 or W3680, which is 6-core 12-thread. It's probably about multi-core equivalent of like a 4770 Haswell. So it's fairly good. I mean, it's no speed demon, but it gets the job done. Again, recommend the Cinema Display if you're lucky enough to find one, and recommend the 680 as well. So, yep. Mac 5.1 in a nutshell. Have fun, guys.